My parents ignored all my urgent calls from the hospital because my brother was freaking out over a traffic ticket. "Why are you acting like it's the end of the world? You're not dying." That's what my mom said. "Don't call us in. A panic. Mark needs help paying the fine. Right now." So I had my lawyer come see me in the ER, and when they finally decided to show up, they saw exactly what it had cost to treat me like an afterthought. I appreciate you being here with me today. I hope your day is going well, wherever you are in the world. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is over there. Now, let's get into the story. The air smelled like chemicals and blood. That sharp, clean hospital scent couldn't hide the metallic tang or the weight of what I was feeling. Every shallow breath hurt. Each heartbeat felt like it was hammering the pain deeper into me. I was stuck under the bright glare of ER lights, my left leg hoisted and pulsing with pain. Nurses and doctors kept coming in and out, polite and professional, doing their job. They stabilized me, ran tests, and left me with nothing but the soft beep of the monitor and my own spiraling thoughts. That's when the worst part kicked in. I reached over, hand trembling, grabbed my busted phone from the table. The screen was shattered, just like the inside of my leg probably was. I scrolled with shaking fingers, searching for the only contacts saved under emergency. My parents. My first call rang out, the second one too. On the third try, my mom picked up, clearly annoyed. "Alex, do you even know what time it is? Your brother's having a complete breakdown. We're trying to deal with that." Her words chilled me more than the cold sheet I was laying under. "Mom," I said, barely able to speak. "I'm in the ER. There's been an accident." She paused, then let out this irritated sigh. "An accident? Are you dying? Because Mark just got a traffic ticket and he's falling apart. You wouldn't believe it. He needs money right now or they'll take his car." I heard my dad's voice grumbling in the background. "Is that Alex? Tell him to quit the drama. Mark's the one with the real problem right now." My whole body froze. I was sitting here, broken and alone, and they were brushing it off like I was making it up, just because my 30-something brother couldn't handle getting pulled over. I tried again. "Mom, I might have broken my leg. They're doing scans." "Oh, Alex," she cut in. "Don't be so dramatic. You're tough. You'll be fine. Mark needs us right now. He's very emotional about this stuff." Then she added, "Don't call in a panic. You're not dying. Mark needs the money urgently." And with that, she hung up. I dropped the phone. It hit the mattress and slid away. The rail of the bed pressed into my arm. I just stared at the ceiling, the lights buzzing above me. Those words kept circling in my mind like poison. "You're not dying. Don't panic. Mark needs the money." It wasn't just about the car or the ticket. It was everything, all packed into one clear moment. My whole life had looked like this. Growing up, I was the steady one, the dependable one. Mark was the fragile favorite, the one who always got the extra help. If I brought home straight A's, it was expected. If Mark scraped a C, it was treated like a miracle. If I wanted anything, I worked for it. If he wanted something, he pouted. And poof, it appeared. I knew even back then that the money came from our parents' savings. The same savings I quietly helped build once I started working part-time at 16. When I went off to college, I had 2 jobs to cover rent and tuition, only taking the smallest loans I had to. Mark? He stayed local. They paid for most of his expenses, complained about it, sure, but they always found cash for his weekend plans. After he graduated, they started pushing me to help him get a job, even though I was barely getting my own life together. "He looks up to you, Alex. Be the big brother he needs." That turned into me handing over money. Rent here, car bill there, credit cards he forgot existed, always temporary, always just this once. But it kept happening. He'd get a job, lose it, call again. My parents would sigh, act helpless, then turn to me. Alex, he might have to move back home. Can you help? Please? Just one more time. And it didn't stop there. Roof repairs, medical bills, car replacements. Somehow it always became my responsibility. It was like some kind of family tax. I kept telling myself this was what good. Sons did. That love means helping. That one day they'd look at me the way they looked at him, with admiration, even when he was failing. That was my blind spot. My need for their approval, that quiet craving for their love, kept me locked. In that pattern, I thought I was helping. I thought I was being strong. But I was just enabling the same cycle that pushed me further out. I thought I was building trust, but I was really building chains. I should have seen it sooner. Like that one visit home, there wasn't a single photo of me displayed anywhere. Mark's face was everywhere, on the shelves, walls, even in old frames from his high school years, though he barely did anything back then. At holidays, everything was about Mark. His day, his wins, his latest crisis. I could mention a promotion, and they'd nod before pivoting the conversation back to him. I wasn't their son. I was their backup plan. The stable one. The one who didn't need coddling. The one who'd always pick up the slack. But there, in that hospital bed, everything became brutally clear. That smell of bleach and blood, the ache in my leg, their words echoing in my ears. You're not dying. Mark needs money. That was it. That was the truth I didn't want to admit. In their world, I came second. No, not even second. I was somewhere behind his traffic ticket, behind their comfort, behind whatever made their lives easier. That's where I stood. And nothing I'd done, no sacrifice, no help, no check I ever wrote, was going to change that. Love didn't just fade away. It was murdered, slow and cruel, by their indifference when I needed them the most. That was my lowest point. Alone, hurt, and finally seeing the truth with no fog of hope left to shield me. But in that raw, hollow moment, the ache in my chest that wasn't from the crash hardened into something colder. A solid, final resolve. I wasn't going to be the dependable one anymore, not the safety net, not their personal ATM. If they thought Mark's made-up crisis deserved more attention than my real emergency, then fine, they could have that. But they'd lose everything else. I picked up my phone again, hand more steady this time. Their missed call flashed across the cracked screen. I didn't bother answering. I scrolled past Mom and Dad straight to DMs, Emily Dawson, my lawyer. Calling her from a hospital bed felt surreal. My voice came out weak, scratched by pain and the emotional storm that had just broken. Ms. Dawson, I said, trying to stay composed. It's Alex. Sorry it's late, but I'm in the ER. She was calm, collected. Alex, are you okay? What happened? I gave her the short version of the crash, then let the rest tumble out, bitter and sharp. I called my parents to let them know. They said I was being dramatic, that my brother had a meltdown over a traffic ticket and they were dealing with him. They told me I wasn't dying, said not to panic, then hung up. She was silent for a beat, not cold, but absorbing it all. When she spoke, her voice was gentle. I'm so sorry, Alex, especially now. That's unthinkable. I'm done, I told her, voice clear even through the pain. Absolutely. Done. I want to cut them off. Everything. The money, the contact, done. I want to know what I can do legally to make sure they never get near my finances again. I walked her through everything. The years of guilt trips, the money transfers, the excuses, the favoritism. Ms. Dawson listened closely. From what you're describing, this clearly shows a pattern of emotional and financial abuse, she said. While ending contact is your decision, we can definitely take legal steps to cut financial ties and secure your future. We'll revoke, Any powers of attorney, update beneficiaries, and make sure they have no access to anything if something happens to you. It's going to be ugly, she warned. They won't take this well. I don't care anymore, I said, and I meant it. What happened in that ER killed the last thread I had connecting me to needing their approval, or keeping up, appearances. What do I need to do? I can come to the hospital, she said, without missing a beat. We'll draft and sign the first set of papers right now. Let's make sure you're protected. While I waited, a nurse came in to check my vitals. She was kind, even smiled as she adjusted my blanket and topped off my water. That small kindness from a stranger hit deeper than years of conditional love from my own parents. My phone buzzed, a message from my friend Sarah. Hey, Alex, just heard what happened. So worried. Let me know if you need anything. Anything. At all. Sending love. That text cracked something open in me. Sarah knew a little about my family, but I'd always hidden just how bad it was. Her message? Pure care, no expectations, no strings. Just her, thinking about me, not what I could do for her. It reminded me that real love, real support, it exists, and it doesn't demand you sacrifice yourself to get it. An hour later, Ms. Dawson arrived. Sharp suit, quiet focus, slim briefcase in hand. When she stepped into that hospital room, it felt like someone had finally shown up for me. She didn't waste time. Sat beside my bed and opened the folder. She had prepped everything based on our earlier call, revoking the general power of attorney I'd given my mom just in case years ago, changing beneficiaries on my small life insurance, and rewriting the draft of a simple will. Each step was clean, necessary. I signed every paper with a steady hand, even as the ache in my leg throbbed. But the ache in my heart wasn't physical. It was grief. These weren't just legal documents. They were goodbyes. I was signing off on the fantasy that one day they'd truly love me the way they claimed, that if I just gave enough, they'd finally see me. But underneath that loss, something powerful was building. I felt like I was finally choosing myself, for the first time. Alex, Ms. Dawson said, looking at one of the forms, you mentioned they've relied on you financially for years. Do you have any proof? Yeah, I said. My voice came out stronger. I started tracking everything about 6 months ago. After Mark hit me up again for some emergency loan, I started saving. Emails, bank transfers, even recorded a few calls. I didn't know why at the time. Just felt like I had to. That was the twist I hadn't seen coming. I hadn't collected evidence out of spite. I did it because I was being gaslit for so long I needed proof, not for them, but for myself. I'd been told I was overreacting, that I wasn't giving that much, that they'd done so much more for me. I needed to break that internal lie. Ms. Dawson nodded, her expression shifting. That's smart, Alex. It'll help tremendously if they try to retaliate or make you out to be the villain. We'll back everything up, build your case tight. I gave her access to my cloud folders, showed her my banking apps. She started running the numbers on her laptop. Watching the total amount scroll up felt like watching years of my life be tallied. It wasn't just a little help. It was a serious sum. Enough for a down payment. A real future. But instead, it went into Mark's poor choices and my parents' endless emergencies. Then another buzz. A new text. This one from Mark. Heard you're in the hospital. Hope you're not faking for attention, LOL. Mom said it's just a sprain. Anyway, you sending the money for the ticket? It's kinda urgent. My stomach turned. Not one word about my injury, just more entitlement, more of the same cycle. That message? That was it. That was the final nail. This wasn't family. It was a transaction, and I was the wallet. Ms. Dawson finished compiling the initial paperwork. That's everything signed and in motion. she said, closing the folder. I'll handle the notifications to your parents. Based on what you've shared, I expect a strong reaction. And I looked her straight in the eye. Let them react. They're probably already on their way, aren't they? I gave a small nod, feeling that familiar weight in my chest, dread settling in even though I had made up my mind. Most likely. I'm sure the hospital called them too. Good, Miss Dawson replied calmly. Let them come. We're ready. The hospital room suddenly felt like it was holding its breath. The low hum of the machines, the occasional footsteps outside, it all faded into the background. What mattered now was what was coming. This wasn't going to be a fight with yelling or fists. It was going to be a confrontation with truth. My leg ached, grounding me in this moment, reminding me it was real. My pulse was fast, not from fear anymore, but from knowing this was finally going to end. I looked at the papers sitting neatly beside me, the ones I had just signed, and the digital records Emily was compiling. I wasn't some scared kid hoping for their approval anymore. I was a grown man drawing a line. The door creaked open, and there they were, my parents. Their entrance was like a bad play. My mom had this fake, shocked expression, voice just loud enough for people in the hallway to hear. Oh, Alex, sweetie, we came as soon as we could. My dad glanced at his watch, clearly annoyed more than worried. They came closer, but paused the second they noticed Emily sitting there. Their smiles cracked. Who is this? My dad asked, his tone sharpening immediately. Emily stood up. Good evening. I'm Emily Dawson, Alex's attorney. Just like that, their masks dropped. My mom's face turned pale, then red. My dad's jaw clenched. An attorney? What the hell is going on? Are you suing us? No, I said, voice steady and clear, louder than I expected. I'm not suing you. I'm protecting myself from you. My mom gasped, hand on her chest like she was in a soap opera. Protecting yourself? From us? After everything we've done for you? I raised my eyebrows. Everything you've done for me? My voice was bitter now. Like ignoring my calls when I was in the ER because Mark had a meltdown over a ticket, telling me not to panic because I wasn't dying? That's what you call parenting? They looked away, suddenly unable to meet my eyes. We were worried about Mark, my mom muttered. He was very upset, and the hospital called us, so we knew you were okay. Okay? I laughed once. Dry, cold. You knew I was okay? I'm in the ER with a possibly broken leg, alone, pumped full of pain meds, and that was okay? Because your adult son had a parking ticket? You're blowing this way out of proportion, my dad snapped. You're being ridiculous. We were coming. Mark just needed us first. There it was, the phrase they always used. Mark needed them more than I did. Always. No, I said. He didn't need you. He needed money. And once again, that mattered more than I did. Emily stepped forward, holding the papers. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, Alex has retained me to formally inform you that he is ending all financial assistance to you and your son, effective immediately. That includes any loans, payments, or shared expenses. He has also revoked your powers of attorney and updated all relevant legal documents to remove your access. She handed the stack to my father. He took it, staring like it was in another language. My mom grabbed a page and scanned it quickly, eyes going wide. Her lips parted. But nothing came out. It wasn't my pain that got to them. It was the money that hit home. You can't do this, my mom shrieked. All pretense gone. We need that money. Mark needs that money. We've counted on it. Exactly, I said, quiet but sharp. You counted on it. On me. You didn't treat me like a son. You treated me like a resource. This is insane, my dad snapped, gripping the papers tighter. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. You owe us. Owe you, I said, pushing myself up slightly, ignoring the jolt in my leg. Do I owe you for always coming second? For paying Mark's bills while you called me the responsible one? Do I owe you for leaving me alone in a hospital bed because he needed gas money? We never ignored you, my mom said, falling into the same script. You're making things up. You're just being cruel. Mark has a harder time. You've always had it easy. That was their story. I didn't need help, so I got ignored. He made messes, so he got attention. And I got to clean up. You think I'm imagining it? I asked, my voice low, calm, dangerous. I looked at Emily. Can you play it? She pulled out her phone. I had recorded the call that night. Something told me I might need it. That audio was already synced to the cloud and shared with her. She pressed play. The room filled with my weak voice. Mom, I'm in the ER. There was an accident. Her sigh followed, his grunt, then those unforgettable words. You're not dying. Don't call in a panic. Mark needs money urgently. Click. Silence, the kind that roared. My parents looked at the phone, then at me. They were speechless. No denials, no spin. It was them, plain as day. What is that? My mom asked, her voice barely audible. That, I said, staring right at her, is who you really are. My dad's face twisted with rage. You recorded us? That's illegal. Actually, Emily said, cutting in smoothly, in this state, it's perfectly legal under these conditions. And it makes the situation extremely clear. She turned her screen toward them. Between the audio and the financial documentation Alex has kept, we have a full record of the dynamic in question. This relationship has been one-sided in a... They're probably already on their way, right? I nodded, even though my gut twisted with a sick kind of dread. Yeah, probably. I'm sure the hospital contacted them too. Good, Miss Dawson said, her voice cool and measured. Let them come. We're ready for this. We sat there and waited. The hospital room felt like it was holding its breath. Machines beeped softly, distant voices echoed through the halls, but all of it faded beneath the weight of what was coming. This wasn't going to be a fight with yelling or hands. It was going to be quiet and sharp, a confrontation. Built on truth and consequences, my leg throbbed with every heartbeat, anchoring me in the reality of what I was about to do. I looked down at the stack of signed documents and the growing file Miss Dawson had open on her laptop. I wasn't a scared little boy hoping for their love anymore. I was a grown man standing firm. The door creaked open. My parents entered like they were walking on stage. My mom all smiles, voice too high-pitched. Oh, Alex, darling. We came as soon as we could. My dad followed behind, barely hiding how annoyed he was to be here. They got closer, until they saw Miss Dawson. Their cheerful act cracked instantly. Who's this? My dad snapped, his voice flat and cold. Good evening, Miss Dawson said, standing politely. I'm Emily Dawson, Alex's attorney. The change in their faces was instant. My mom went pale, then flushed. My dad's jaw locked. An attorney? He barked. What the hell is this? Are you suing us? I looked them both in the eye. No, I'm not suing you. I'm protecting myself. From you. My mom let out this shaky little gasp and clutched her chest like she was auditioning for a soap opera. Protecting yourself? From your own parents? After all we've done for you? Everything you've done for me? I asked, voice low but sharp. Like ignoring my calls from the hospital because Mark was crying over a traffic ticket? Like telling me not to panic because I wasn't dying? Their eyes dropped. They didn't even try to deny it. We were worried about Mark, my mom muttered. He was very upset, and... The hospital called us anyway, so we knew you were okay. Okay? I let out a cold laugh that actually made my side hurt. I'm sitting here in the ER with a broken leg, alone, and doped up on morphine. But sure, I was fine. You're being dramatic, my dad snapped, his voice growing hard. We were coming. Mark needed us, that's all. There it was, his favorite line. Mark needed them. That's always how it went. He needed money, I said plainly. That mattered more to you than your son being in the hospital, just like it always has, because it's always about money. My money. Miss Dawson stepped forward and held out the documents. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, she said, her tone completely composed. Alex has retained me to represent him in matters of his personal and financial affairs. Effective immediately, he will no longer be providing financial assistance to either of you or to his brother. This includes any allowances, loan payments, or help with bills. He has also revoked any powers of attorney, changed the beneficiaries on his accounts, and removed all access to his estate. She handed the stack of documents to my father. He stared at it, stunned. My mom yanked a sheet from his hand, her lips moving silently as she read through it. When it clicked, I saw it in her face. Not grief, not guilt. Panic. Over the money. You can't do this, she shrieked, her voice rising. We need that money. Mark needs it. We've come to depend on it. Exactly, I said quietly. You depended on it. You depended on me. But not because I'm your son. Because I was a paycheck. This is outrageous, my dad roared, gripping the papers tightly. After all we've done for you, we raised you. You owe us. I looked at him, not blinking. What exactly do I owe you? Do I owe you for always being second to Mark? For being the reliable one who you leaned on while calling me selfish for setting boundaries? Do I owe you for being alone in this hospital room while you prioritized his parking ticket? We never ignored you, my mom insisted, her voice slippery with gaslighting. You're making this all up. Mark struggles. You've always been the strong one. You don't need the same support. There it was, the script they always fell back on. I didn't cause problems, so I didn't need love. Mark caused chaos, so he got attention. And I got the bill. So you think I'm imagining it? I said, voice dangerously calm. I turned to Miss Dawson. Would you mind playing it? She pulled out her phone and tapped the screen. I had recorded the call. Some part of me just knew it might come to this. That file was already backed up and shared with her. She hit play. The room filled with my weak voice. Mom, I'm in the ER. There was an accident. Then her sigh, his grunt, their words cold and plain. Why are you making such a fuss? You're not dying. Don't call in a panic. Mark needs money urgently to pay the fine. And then, click, silence, the real kind. No excuses, no performance, just the truth. My parents stared at the phone like it had slapped them. Their own voices, their own callousness, played back like a mirror they couldn't break. What is that? My mom whispered, pale as a ghost. That, I said, is what you really sound like. That's what you said. That's who you are. My dad's face twisted, red with fury. You recorded us? How dare you? That's illegal. Actually, Miss Dawson said, barely glancing at him, in this state, it's perfectly legal under these circumstances. And the recording speaks for itself. It shows exactly what Alex has been living with. She gestured to her screen. Combined with the financial records Alex has compiled, the number glared like a punch. This shows a long pattern of exploitation and emotional neglect. Exploitative. The number on her laptop screen, years of my money, glared like a verdict. The total sum showing on her screen said everything. It wasn't just emotional, it was financial. A brutal receipt of all the years I'd been the safety net. It made their fake image collapse right in front of someone who didn't owe them loyalty. Emily didn't have emotional baggage with them. She had evidence. If they try to contest your decision to stop financial support, she said, this will work in your favor. It's hard to call someone ungrateful when the numbers tell a different story, especially when it's backed by audio of blatant neglect. My parents didn't know where to look. Their fake charm was gone, replaced with red faces and tight eyes. They were unraveling. "We'll sue you!" my mom screamed, pointing at me like I'd just betrayed the nation. "We'll tell everyone what a terrible son you are. You'll regret this." "You're absolutely free to pursue any legal action you feel necessary," Emily replied without a blink. "However, please be aware that would make all of this evidence public record, and defamation is also actionable, just so you know." I looked at them, these people who were supposed to love me, who were supposed to care if I was bleeding in a hospital bed. They didn't look like my parents anymore. They looked like strangers with something to lose. "Just go," I said quietly. "I'm done." For a second, they stood there like they expected me to cave, to beg, to say sorry. But I just stared, not with anger, but with the kind of silence that says, "I've already let you go." Their shoulders sank. My mom's expression twisted into something bitter and hollow. My dad clutched the crumpled papers like he wanted to throw them, but they didn't fight anymore. They turned and left. The door clicked shut behind them like the last page of a long, awful chapter. The room was quiet again. Machines still beeped. Nurses passed in the hall, and for the first time, the silence didn't ache. It felt clean. Like mine. I wasn't waiting for anyone to show up. I wasn't hoping for a call that proved I mattered. I was just here, alive, still. Emily packed up her things. "They won't let this go easily, Alex. They'll lash out, Mark especially. Expect texts, angry voicemails, maybe even public drama, Facebook posts, stories, stuff meant to shame you." "I know," I said, and I did. This wasn't over, but the storm had passed. The worst part, the confrontation, was done. "Don't worry," she added. "I'll handle all of it. You're covered legally. The recording alone kills any case they could dream up. If they keep pushing, I'll..." Shut it down fast. After she left, the pain in my leg made itself known again. It hurt. But in some strange way, I welcomed it. Physical pain I could deal with. Emotional pain. That's what used to leave me breathless. But not anymore. In the days that followed, I floated in and out of procedures, therapy sessions, checkups. The physical part of recovery was slow but predictable. What really changed was inside. Sarah came to visit. She brought flowers and snacks and didn't ask about my parents. She didn't need to. Her being there said enough. She cared. She saw me. That's more than I could say for my own family. When I finally went home, the retaliation began. Mark's texts started right away. Some angry, some desperate. My mom left me long voicemails that swung between guilt and rage. I didn't reply. Emily had warned me, cut off all direct contact, let her handle it. Then came the social games, vague Facebook posts about family betrayal, about being heartbroken by an ungrateful child. A distant relative sent me a guilt-tripping email about keeping families together. It stung, but not because I believed them. It hurt because I realized how easily they believed my parents' version. Still, something surprising happened too. Sarah gently countered the posts when she saw them. And one day I got an email from a cousin I hadn't heard from in years. "Alex," she wrote, "I just want you to know. I believe you. I always saw it. I distanced myself from them for the same reasons. You did the right thing. You're not alone." I read that message a dozen times. Not because it made me cry, but because it made me feel sane, real, seen. I wasn't the villain. I wasn't crazy. That validation? It was healing. A quiet kind of healing that doesn't need a loud celebration. Emily handled every bit of the legal noise. My parents' threats didn't stand a chance against cold hard records. Mark even tried to get a lawyer to make me pay his fine. It went nowhere. My accounts were sealed. My lines were drawn. My leg got stronger. Crutches gave way to a cane. Then finally, I walked on my own again. But the emotional work? That was the true recovery. I started therapy. I unpacked the years of guilt, obligation, and gaslighting. I began to understand that I'd been chasing something that never existed. A version of my family that saw me, valued me, loved me unconditionally. That version had never been real. But what was real was my power to stop chasing. Financially, I was finally free. My bank account grew, not just with money, but with peace. No late-night dread over another favor. No panic every time the phone rang. That money represented my labor, my time, my future. And it was mine again, for the first time ever. I redefined what family meant. It wasn't about shared blood. It was about shared respect, shared care, real boundaries, real love. Sarah was family, my cousin was family, Emily was family, and me, I was my own family too. Losing my parents and my brother felt like a kind of death. Not a sudden one, but a quiet, necessary ending. There were moments I missed the dream I used to hold on to, the version of them I hoped they could be. But those moments passed, and they were replaced by a new feeling, self-respect. A calm, steady kind of strength that didn't need anyone else's permission to exist. That day in the hospital wasn't just about a broken leg. It was about finally walking away from a broken cycle. I'd been financially drained, emotionally, ignored and manipulated by the people who were supposed to lift me up. But the day they showed me the worst of themselves, they also gave me the freedom I needed. They proved I was never going to be enough, not because of me, but because they chose to never see me. And that, somehow, was the beginning of everything. So to anyone out there who feels invisible, exhausted, or used by the people who are supposed to love you, please hear this. You are not crazy. You are not selfish. Your pain is real. And walking away, setting boundaries, saying enough, that's not cruelty. That's bravery. That's survival. You are not alone. If my story hit home for you, I hope you'll share your own in the comments. Because this, right here, is how we heal. Together.